Now in 2024 we're seeing Bible prophecy unfolding before our eyes. We're seeing so many things happening. We see on the geopolitical stage many things that are happening that seems to be pushing the agenda of what we call prophecy and lining up with things that are going to happen with the big crescendo. But what I wanted to focus on today, Isaiah 11 gives us a prophecy of things that are going to come. Basically the other side of what is about to happen, with some good news, but also to show you why the things that are happening now and the reason we see so much chaotic weather and all of these things that are happening. Bible tells us exactly why that is. Like always, what I'll ask you to do is to watch it in full, get the full context, but also smash the like button so that someone who does not know Christ may come to the understanding of who he is by hearing the message of hope that is entangled within this also. Remember, Scripture clearly tells us of things that are happening. When we look at what's happening in the world, the Bible tells us that the earth is groaning. What does that look like? From the time Adam fell, something on earth happened where things have drastically changed, and we're seeing things like this happen.
Let's look at that. Hey! Hey! Get in! That way is a good 15, 20 feet tall. Easy. The tide's going away.
You know, along with all the crazy weathers that have been happening all over the planet, not just isolated in one area. You know, many people said they've been hearing what sounds like strange noises coming from the sky, but are really pushing me towards the scripture in Romans, where it tells us that the earth groans out for the day of the revelation of the sons of God, that the world is restored as Christ promised, and they hear strange sounds like this. To the amazing prophecy in Isaiah of the promise of what is to come. The reason why we see so many things happening at the moment, Romans 8 gives us a very, very detailed breakdown of what is happening around the world when we see all these chaotic things happening and these strange weather events. Now, most of us will know that, you know, man has included its own hand in trying to manipulate some of the things that are happening. But really, we look at what's happening and we know that something is at work. Something is just off. It's getting worse and worse as we draw closer. But Romans 8, it's one of my favourite books when it comes to this type of stuff. And it says this in verse 20. It says, "For creation was subjected to the frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God. Ever since the fall of Adam, we know when Adam and Eve fell, God even cursed the ground, He cursed the earth, that Adam and Eve were going to work, that He even brought something that was never there in the first place when they were doing this, would have been thorns and thistles. And from that point on, the earth and even the animals, we see something had changed and morphed away from what its original intent was. And when I'm looking at all of these events happening in the world, the strange weather events, something is telling me that it's a cry from the earth, because He knows its time is coming, that the King of Kings is coming to restore back to what it was in the Garden of Eden. And how we know that this is coming about, one of the other parts of the scripture, when you go back one verse or two verses, it's for us. It says, I consider that our present suffering are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. For creation awaits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. So it's waiting for it to happen. And as it happens, like childbirth, and we're told that the end times will be like childbirth. As it gets closer to the return of Christ, it would happen with more intensity and frequency, and we could see that happening around the world. You know, the fall affected the animals also. The lions and all of these animals we see today originally were not carnivores. When we read in Genesis 1 verse 30, we're told that all of the animals, every animal, that the plants and the seeds were to be their food. And then when the fall of Adam happened, it morphed and it changed. Sin didn't just affect us as humans, but it affected the very environment that we live in. We see it in the planet at the moment. We see it all over, that even it's hard to bear to try to grow food. All of these things are all because of the fall. And the original promise that came after that, in Isaiah 11, such a great verse. We know that, after the rapture happens, if you were to have a timeline, you have the rapture, the 7-year tribulation, etc. But we know that Christ's second coming, after He, has that battle with Megiddo, and we go into the 1,000 years, things then will actually be restored. And here's, one of the scriptures we see, it's in Isaiah 11, but we see it further in Isaiah 65 as well. And it says this: the wolf, in that time, the wolf will lay with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a child will lead them. The cow will feed with the bear, their young will lie down together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. The infant will play near the cobra's den, and the young will put its hand in the viper's nest. They will neither harm nor destroy on my holy mountain, for the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord as the water covers the sea. And this is the prophecy that's spoken about in Isaiah. We see in Revelation 19, etc. as well, that when this happens, when Christ comes back to rule and reign, which is the pinnacle of what we would believe in, we know that when He comes back, that things will be subjected back to His full authority. We get a picture of that when Jesus walked on water. We get a picture of it when He stopped the storm. The apostle said even the waves and the wind obey Him. We know that sin has caused not only mankind decay, but also the actual world and the environment around us. And we see this happening all over: tsunamis and earthquakes and volcanic eruptions and strange weather patterns. All of this is all part and parcel, but it's leading to the crescendo of Isaiah 6. And we know that the time comes when that Jesus steps down and physically steps on earth and rules and reigns. Things will align back to the way it was in the garden. But remember, of all the chaos that's going on in the world, God is always in control. Keep the faith.